Okay, we're going in. Opening night, Season 4, ×4 simulation against the St. Louis Blues and on the road to begin the season. We had a quick power play there. It went nowhere. The Blues, we killed their power plays off until Oshie scores. And that's the first goal of the season that we've given up. Who will score the first goal of the season for the Flames? Will there be a first goal of the season in this game? And there it is on the power play. Emerton gets it done on the power play. 11 shots on net through the first period. A quick one there. Emerton is second of the night on Shields. So he has the first 2 goals of the season for the Calgary Flames. Can we get another one? Start running away with this game on opening night. Pouliot ships in from the corner. And we have a 3-1 advantage on the Blues. Before the second period's over, there's another one. 4 on the night. Granlund scores. He gets in on the action. 5 now of Callahan. All of them scored from the same side of the rink. We had a power play. Then we scored Girardi with a blast from the point. Not on the power play, even strength, but the Blues did get one back on the power play. Now Tarasenko at even strength. Hold on, we got a game now, 3-goal lead. Don't blow this one, Calgary. Oh no, 6-4 lead, Como. Blues hanging in there. Now it's 5, Pominville. We're nearly tied, and Mrazek's choking this one away. Game is not over. We did not run away with it. Now Granlund scores his second of the night. 7-5 lead. And an 8-5 win it will be with Colton Sevior's empty net goal. What a game for opening night in St. Louis. So the scoring summary. Oshie from Pietrangelo and Blake Wheeler. Corey Emerton from Kempe and Granlund. Emerton from Ekblad. Pouliot, that's Ekblad's first NHL point in this game. Pouliot from Girardi and Giordano. That's the first pairing assisting on that one. Granlund from Laxo and Saad. Callahan from Girardi and Giordano. The first pair gets another set of assists. Girardi from Granlund. Then the Blues would get cut back into it. Schwartz from Shattenkirk and Pietrangelo. Tarasenko from Burish and Nystrom. That's Eric Nystrom, who was on this Flames team the previous season. Como from Schwartz. Pominville from Shattenkirk. That made it quite a game, and then we re-extended the lead. Granlund from Ekblad and Laxo. So Ekblad gets his multi-point game in his NHL debut. Sevior from Pouliot closed it off on the empty netter. And there's the penalty summary if you want to see that. The home stats for the Blues in what was a wild one. Lots of minuses in there, of course, giving up 8 goals. And then Peter Mrazek not looking too sharp, .839 save percentage. And just a lot of wild stats to go around. So there were some 3-point guys in this game. They were Giordano, Girardi, and Granlund scoring 3 points in the season opening game. And then what was Ekblad in his debut? A +1 with 2 assists. How about that? 22 minutes played on the back end. So yes, that was Aaron Ekblad's debut. And look at who we get to play in a home and home. The St. Louis Blues right back at it again. Hopefully it's not quite the heart attack game that first one was. So now we begin the real sim. Actually simming up to Christmas. Or whatever we want to take this to. I'm guessing Christmas a 2-0 loss, so we didn't even score in the rematch at the Saddledome, but we got right back on the right track with a 5-2 win over the LA Kings. So just keeping it going here, nice and easy. Back for a 3-game homestand here, now against the Chicago Blackhawks, who this is the return of Alexei Yemelin to Calgary, and we win that one 4-1. I wish I could see the scoring summary because I would like to know if Brandon Saad got in on the action offensively in that game. But Aaron Ekblad up to 4 assists now. We go past the Colorado Avalanche. And hopefully this is a team that just can get on a roll and keep it rolling. We got the Avalanche on the road. First road game since the season opener in St. Louis. And that was a 4-0 shutout victory for Peter Mrazek. He's going to be eating a lot of games this year in the net. So now the Dallas Stars at home. 4-1 win. I love it. And Peter Mrazek is up to the task. He's now an 84 overall goaltender and well more than capable of handling the workload that we throw at him. We got a struggling Wild team to start the season. 3-0 win. All right, Peter Mrazek is ready for this. Rematch with the Blackhawks coming up as well. And that rematch went favorably for us. 3-2 win. Not sure if that's regulation or overtime. But as long as we're getting W's, it doesn't really matter to me. It's not going to bother me too much. This is an important phase of the season coming out of October. We've just done a good job of putting points in the bag. We do another with 2-1 win over the Winnipeg Jets. We're just putting points in the bag right now. That's my main focus. And we're going to have to do that in a rematch on the road again against Colorado. Colorado came out of my mouth a little bit weird there, but a 4-0 shutout. Mrazek is a beast right now. We're on a tear. Look at this win streak. Wait a minute. We lost the second game of the season. We won opening night. We lost the rematch to St. Louis, and we've just been on a tear since then. Winning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 there at Colorado. 8 in a row. And it was a win streak that included a previous matchup in Colorado. Hopefully it's not the end of the win streak. Keep it going. We're 9-1-0 to start the season. This is very promising. Have I put together a dream team in Calgary? As Mike Camilleri, look at him getting it done. Plus 10, plus minus. 6 goals, 6 assists, 12 points on the season already for Camilleri. We haven't even played 12 games yet as we go into the 11th. And it is a loss. And that's Greg Campbell on waivers. I'm going to pass on that, but a 4-3 loss, and it was in overtime, so that's still a point. So we're on a point streak. Peter Mrazek with a .950 save percentage. Just a look into it as we're now past the 10 games mark. Peter Mrazek, top 2 in save percentage, and GAA, he's having a phenomenal season. And by the way, that is Anthony Brodeur for the Devils in net. He's having very Martin Brodeur-like numbers for the New Jersey Devils. Cam Ward's still putting together great numbers. He just sims really well in this game for some reason, but very promising that Mrazek is in the conversation to start. Ovechkin, of course, just leading the NHL in points, and I assume in goals. No, he's not leading in goals. He's 6th on that list with 7. Halischuk for Nashville. It's funny because I actually looked at Halischuk in the offseason when we were going for that trade with Yemelin, and I passed up on Halischuk, and look at him. He's leading the NHL in goals so far with the Nashville Predators. Also, division standings, just real quick so we can look at it. There's the East, and then here's the West over here. Oh, I've helped Chicago out sending them Yemelin. They are back on top. But we want to stay on top. We got to play Vancouver, in-division opponent, and we want to stay on top of it and get at least a point, but hopefully we can bury these guys further. There's a win. 5-1 bounce-back win after losing San Jose, and another in-division rival, the Los Angeles Kings. Just another team with a losing record. Put them in the ground, win this game, and we lost, but in extra time, so we still got the point. And now we'll play the Edmonton Oilers, the arch rival, arch nemesis of the Calgary Flames. We are each other's arch nemesis. Battle of Alberta. And it goes in favor of the Calgary Flames. 4-3 win. Don't even care if that was in regulation. We just roll on. No need to change anything about this team. I almost want to do a full season sim in this one video. I mean, we are just rolling on. No need to touch anything. Baertschi's performing well on the top line. He should be. He's 86 overall now. The Ducks were struggling once again, having mighty struggles. But again, a point is achieved in the loss to Anaheim. Haven't had a regulation loss since the second game of the season against St. Louis, which was at home in the back-to-back home and home with the Blues. Boston Bruins on the road, who are playing .500 hockey so far, and that was a loss in regulation to Boston. First regulation loss in a month is handed out by the Boston Bruins. But, if we average one, I'm going to do the scouting assignment real quick, but while I do this, I'm going to talk. If we average one regulation loss per month, I'm fine with that. That's going to set us up nicely for the regular season. There are no defensemen projected to go very high in this draft. Not that that really matters. Sure, go out to Scandinavia and just scout. It doesn't really matter at this point. Drafting in Season 4 does not matter. Back-to-back games on the road. From Tampa to Montreal, that's quite the plane trip. 13-2-2 Lightning. So the battle of two great teams, and we lose out in that one. We've suffered back-to-back losses, but there's a win to get it on the right track against the Canadiens. So we suffered back-to-back, actually 3 losses in a row going into that one. We're already at Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving. Already American Thanksgiving against the Devils on the Saturday after, I guess this would be the Saturday after Thanksgiving, yes. And will we get a W against the 12-4-2 Devils? It looked like that was not. That was a 2-1 regulation loss to the Devils. But anyway, I mean, I'm not really, I have no concerns so far. People are doing their job and getting it done. Callahan's got the goals. Camilleri is feeding him on the goals. Can we break through Cam Ward and the Hurricanes? No, we get dominated in extreme style. 7-1 win for the Hurricanes. And now it's falling apart a little bit. So my concerns must be raised for this team if we can't get a win against San Jose. So already December the 1st, and we're playing the Sharks at home. So the RFA period to sign RFAs has ended, and we get back on the right track. 3-0 shutout win for Mrazek, so I can calm my concerns for a moment. If we can get back on a win streak, then that loss there to Carolina and Arizona does not really bother me. Again, quite the interesting trip having to fly from Raleigh now out to Phoenix in that one. And we lost to the Ducks, which was a regulation loss as well. But we just carry on because, again, until we get on an excessively lengthy losing streak, I won't have any major concerns for this team through the first half of the season. We need to beat Pittsburgh. Losing record, losing team. We've had some time off between games. We did get a point. Did we get a point in that game? Scoring summary from the game against Pittsburgh. We did. We lost it in overtime. Okay. And again, an updated look at standings now that we are into the first week in December. And we're still hanging tight at the top of the division, which is very tight right now. The whole division outside of Vancouver is within about 4 points of each other. So, in other words, we're 4 points above the Sharks. The Sharks are within 4, and they're the 6th place team in the division. And we are 2 points behind the LA Kings for the division lead. And there's the East. Just a quick look at where the East stands so far is Chicago still, they're top 3 in the division, so they're still rolling hot. Jonathan Drouin takes the lead as the leading goal scorer in the NHL. Halishchuk is still in there in that conversation, and you don't see Alex Ovechkin on that list, at least in the top 8. There's the points leaders and the wins leaders, Peter Mrazek leading in wins, tied for the lead in wins, rather, against Makarov. Remember, no Russian. At the top of the goaltenders wins column, and where has Mrazek's save percentage has come back down to earth. He's down to a 925. We kind of expected that might happen. Well, we were winning so much and so often. Let's just see what happens against the Rangers, and that's another loss. Now my concerns are getting greater. I normally by this point, but because we were winning so much, I didn't look at it. But normally by this point, I would have looked at the standings and the stats. But I'm going to do that now. So I want to go into Stats Central and pull up the team standings and see what our problem areas are, because we're starting to fall off and come back down to earth a bit. It's a bit more of a reality check for us now after the hot start with 74 goals. So scoring is not a problem compared to the rest of the NHL. We're one of the best teams in scoring goals, at least in goals for. And in goals for per game, we're scoring about 3 per game, which is what you want to be doing. If you can score better than 3 goals per game like Toronto is, that's just a bonus. We want to at least be scoring like New Jersey is at 3 goals per game. That should win you a lot of games. But I guarantee you that average has come down as we've lost in the most recent stretch of weeks where we've been losing the goals against per game. That could get better. It's definitely started to taper off a bit for us. We were probably way up here when Peter Mrazek's goals against average and save percentage was one of the best in the NHL. It's now started to fall off a little bit. We're mid-pack in the NHL in goals against per game. Now, the power play percentage. Is the power play a problem? Not really. It's, well, who's got the best in the league? New Jersey at 24. We want to be clicking at better than 17%, though. I will tell you that much. I would like to get the power play to closer to 20, 18, 19, 20%. So it could get better. But I'm not going to tweak with it yet. I'm not going to tweak the power play yet. I want to see if we keep losing. Penalty kill is where it should be. 85% is fine. So I don't think anything needs any tweaking yet. If I'm going to give this team one more week to try to get wins. We need to at least win 3 or 4 of the next 5, I would like to see 4 straight wins in this week. It starts with Detroit, and there's a win, a shutout win. That's big. I'd like you guys to beat the Rangers too. If we can beat the Rangers, then I'm not going to be too concerned with playing Jeremy Smith, who I looked at as a trade target. And there's another back-to-back shutout wins. So now we're playing Philly. If we can win against Philly, or if we lose to Philly and beat Pittsburgh, my concerns will be alleviated once more for at least a brief period of time. Let's see what happens against Philadelphia. It's a loss in regulation, but we just got to beat Pittsburgh. We were in that game. It was a 3-2 tight one that we lost. And now Pittsburgh, the Penguins, beat the Penguins, and I won't have to think about changing anything. And we lost 6-4 to the Penguins. I just going to keep going. I want to see if we beat Nashville. I may do some roster tweaks, some line tweaks, if we lose to Nashville, especially if we lose big to Nashville. I'm going to have to consider some major changes. And it's a win. It's a win to Nashville. Updated look at the standings now as we're going toward Christmas. We march toward Christmas time, and we're still at the top of the division. Okay. That start to the season, the hot start, has really saved us so far, but it seems like we kind of win, and then we go on a bit of a small losing streak, or we can't seem to have an extended win streak. But man, when we win, we tend to win pretty big. We've had we've put in really good efforts in some of these big wins, a lot of big shutout victories, and a rematch with Nashville on home ice coming up soon. So they're going to be looking to get revenge on us. We want to get a nice win streak started once again. A 19-10-2 Predators team being led by Chuck up front. And that was a win. It was a 5-4 win. All right. Get back on a big win streak, and then I don't have to touch anything. I'm kind of glad I didn't touch anything. I don't think that this roster needs any tweaking right now. Team's good enough. They just got to figure it out for themselves. Okay, Minnesota to keep the win streak going, because I think we're on a 3-game win streak, and it's a loss. But what were we on? Were we on a 3-game? Yeah, we were on a 3-game win streak, which definitely offsets the losses to Philly and Pittsburgh. All right, so we're now in the post-Christmas part of the schedule, and it's New Year's Eve at home in Calgary. New Year's Eve in Calgary against the Coyotes. And it's a win, 4-2 win, bounce back from that loss to Minnesota. So this team's good. Whatever this team is doing, it's working so far through this point in the season. And, since we're at the new year, I think this is a good time to pause and look at player individual stats. So personal stats for all of the players for the Flames after the Oiler game, which was a victory, 3-2 win. So everyone has played all 35 games. We've got a good doctor on this team. It's keeping the guys healthy. So who leads this team in goals? It's Callahan with 16-35. So Callahan is having a very productive year through 35 games, almost halfway through the season. He is right there at point per game. Baertschi is in the conversation at point per game. Camilleri at point per game. That's your first line. I mean, can you complain with this first line? They are spreading the love around. Everyone's getting a similar amount of goals, similar amount of assists. They're creating, and they got similar points. So they're just sharing those point and assist and goal totals between each other is what I'm trying to say. That's a great line right there. Callahan, Baertschi, and Camilleri. Thank God Baertschi grew to an 86. He is worth it. And he's not costing me too much money as well. How many years left on Baertschi's current contract? It is a $4 million deal for 2 more years. That's going to definitely take us through to the end of this series, which ends after 1 more season. Granlund, Marcus Granlund. I'm draft pick by the Flames? Yes, he was a 2011 second-round pick, and he finally grew after all these years to finally be worthy of being in the NHL lineup. It's paying off because he's got 21 points this year. And then Emerton, who scored the first 2 goals of the season and then cooled off after that. Then Weidman on D. I should just be looking at this by forwards, so we'll actually sort the points by forwards. Steve Ott has 5 goals. Steve Ott, the aging 34-year-old Steve Ott, I took a chance on in UFA. He's 2-star potential listed right now, but he's still got the ability out there with 10 points. And then we'll just scroll through this. So everyone's kind of scoring. That's a forward. Everyone's got some points, including Colton Sevior. Who is the bad boy on the ice? It's Callahan, 44 penalty minutes. And are we having an excess of plus minus? We have an excess of positive guys. These guys are all in the negative, but they're not that far in the negative. But look at this, beautiful, plus 14 for Camilleri. Who's doing what on the... Marcus Granlund's doing it on the power play. He's on the second unit, which was the unit that I was most skeptical of being able to get it done, and Granlund is having no issue with scoring on that second unit power play. And Callahan has 5, Baertschi with 4, so the power play is pretty good as far as those forwards. I like those numbers. How many total power play goals is that between the lot of them? And now we'll look at our defensemen. Point leader on D is Giordano. I think that's to be expected. He is definitely the star on the defensive side of the puck. Weidman has 17 points, so the point shares are as you would expect. Weidman, Girardi, Giordano, they are the big producers because they're getting the most minutes. But Ekblad's doing some producing. He's got his first career NHL goal. Only one on the year, but he's getting 12 assists as well. And Theo Peckham is also providing a little bit of a spark on the... I think he's on the last pairing. So he's not playing the most minutes, but he is still helping out. And no one is a minus on the back end. How about that? Well, we know what Peter Mrazek has done. What about Svedberg in the games he's gotten in? Okay, Svedberg's not really very good, but that's why he will probably play maybe 12 games at the most. Peter Mrazek taking the workload and having no complaints about it with a 92 save percentage and a 2.29 GAA. So that's right where we want those numbers. Can we keep it there for the rest of the season? How many shutouts does he have, by the way? He has 7 shutouts already. I don't know if that's the end of the episode, but in case this is where we wrap up an episode, I just want to say thank you for watching. That's going to do it for this one. We will pick up with the sim beyond January 1st. Now the sim past January 1st, and if this is indeed the beginning of the new episode, or if this is just a continuation of the current episode, well, we're now simming past January 1st, and I have received another phone, and we won another game. I can't stop this. I can't stop simming. I don't need to. This team is on a roll. We're doing something right with the roster that we've assembled. Maybe Mrazek is finally hitting his stride. I don't have any wood in the general vicinity to knock on, but knocking on wood, this looks like a playoff team that I don't have to have too many concerns about. And as I say that, we lose 6-3 to the Edmonton Oilers. All right, but now we got a little back-to-back with some California-based teams. The Los Angeles Kings first up, and it's a win, 3-2 win. And the Anaheim Ducks, who knocked us out in the playoffs, the one and only time that we got there in this GM mode. Okay, we lose them 3-1. That's fine, get it back on the right track. We have back-to-back games between Philly and the Islanders. This is on a road trip. Just brush off that last win to the Ducks. If we have a little win dropped in there every once in a while, if we have a loss dropped in there every once in a while, it won't hurt my feelings. Unfortunately, we did lose to Philly, and now we play the Islanders in that back-to-back on the road. Please win this game, and we did, 3-2, and we lost 4-1 to the Flyers. If we have a loss dropped in there every once in a while, won't hurt my feelings too much. The main goal is let's win, I forgot what the mandate was from the ownership, but I think it was 35 wins. Just focus on trying to win 35 games this season, get into the playoffs. That's the main concern for me. I don't care about winning a division. I don't care about winning a conference or winning a President's Trophy. If none of that happens, not going to hurt my feelings. I just want to get into the big dance, and we have now lost I don't know how many games. That's 2, and that is 4. So 4 losses in our last 5. That's not a good trend. I'm going to give this team a few games before, again, I think about revisiting line changes. Camilleri's goal scoring has cooled off a little bit, not helping the team out. And we're letting a few too many in. We lost 6-3 to Buffalo there. Please beat the Washington Capitals, or I'm going to have to find an excuse to make some changes. Very shortly, we did win 3-2 over the Capitals. It'd be nice to see this team get back onto the winning streak of things. And there we've got Carolina and Edmonton, the old 2006 Stanley Cup final. And I forgot that we could have some losses in extra time as well in there. Was that a loss in regulation to Carolina? I got to go all the way over. Scoring summary, and no, it was a regulation loss. But we did come back and we beat the Oilers 5-0. That always feels good. And would you look at that? It's the All-Star game. So who made the All-Star game for the Flames? I'm assuming there could probably be 2 Calgary Flames players at least in this All-Star game. So Parise, Taves, and Hall, that's your first line for the West All-Stars. Franzen, Nugent Hopkins, and Zykov, I believe. Wow, he really turns out to be something in this GM mode. And Gatslav, Couture, and Ben. Third line, McKinnon and Camilleri. So Mike Camilleri making it to the All-Star game representing your Flames. Did Giordano make it? Pietrangelo and Weber. Weber is basically a lock to make the All-Star game every time. Seabrook and Doughty. And Giordano did make it on the third pair with Bufflin, or Byfuglian if you want to go with that pronunciation. Mrazek is the goalie. Mrazek is the goalie representing the West. So we got 3 Flames in this All-Star game. I almost want to jump in and play this one now. We got Gaborik, Crosby, and Giroux. So this is the East All-Stars. Giroux and Crosby on the same line. How about that? Druin, Stamkos, and Nash. Pacioretty, Sagan, and Spezza. Hodgson, Lecavalier, who is... Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Lecavalier, I believe, is 36 years old now. So they got the 36-year-old Lecavalier, who, remember, we signed him in free agency to start season 1. Was it the first season of the GM mode that we brought Lecavalier in? And he was more than serviceable. He was great for us, but just the age, I could not take another chance on an extra deal with Lecavalier. So we let him go to free agency, and he's found his way back to the All-Star game as a member of the Florida Panthers. So on D, they got Jack Johnson and Morgan Riley, Sekera and Green, Hainsey and Green. So we got 2 players named Green in the East All-Star team. And who's in net? Probably Cam Ward. Wait a minute. Nope, Holtby and Bernier. Okay. I didn't really pay attention to where the Cam Ward's goaltending stats are this season, but Braden Holtby represents the East All-Stars with Bernier backing him up. All right, now we got the post-All-Star break portion of the simulation, and of course that means trade deadline day will soon be approaching, and if you look at us, we might have a potential... I don't know that we have a trade to make. We kind of made our big trade was acquiring Brandon Saad from the Chicago Blackhawks, because we had an excess of defensemen and we needed to move on from somebody. So Yemlin was just, unfortunately, odd man out. I think that's worked out well for the Chicago Blackhawks so far. So they received Yemlin. We received Brandon Saad. That was kind of the big trade deadline deal, but I could look at other teams' surplus, especially teams that are not in the conversation for making the playoffs, and see who they might be selling off when we reach that trade deadline. But for now, we keep rolling. We just keep rolling on with the simulation. The Florida Panthers was a 4-0 shutout win. I saw that briefly there. Don't need to really... I think a trade would not be the best thing for this team. Just leave this roster completely untouched going into the postseason. We don't need to bolster a roster that is winning like this, in my opinion. Aaron Ekblad might just be a revelation on the back end. Thank God he's ready for this season. He was ready to play in the NHL. And Peter Mrazek, seeing the growth spurt that he has seen, hopefully he stays healthy to the end of the year. We're just in early February so far. And unfortunately, 2 losses there. Was that one against Detroit in regulation or extra time? It was in extra time, so we still got the point off of that. And we'll have to look at the updated standings. So... I mean, we're pulling away from the rest of the division. I mean, the Sharks, the Ducks, the Coyotes, all down there with 53 and 52 points. And it's kind of a runaway at the top of the division. We're more than 10 points out ahead of the Ducks and almost 10 points away from the Sharks and the Coyotes. And the Blackhawks, again, they're in the conversation on the other side of the West in the Central Division. This is the East as it stands now. Boston is having another incredibly mediocre year, and they missed out on Connor McDavid. By the way, the Panthers got McDavid in the draft lottery. They won the draft lottery and selected McDavid, but he's playing in the CHL. So just so you know, McDavid is on the Panthers from the draft, and he is not on their roster. He's back in the Canadian Hockey League. So we'll sim past the Islanders. I'm picking up a 3-0 loss to the Islanders. Not very pretty, but if we can get on back to our winning ways, I'm not going to be concerned over that 3-0 loss at all. Canucks, who are last in the division, get a win against us. Oh, come on, Flames. Do we want to take the division or not? I'm not concerned about winning the division, but I do want to be top 3 in the division. I don't want to have to be frantically pacing the room about being a wild card team, and we lost to the Ducks. Another game, rematch with Vancouver. Please find a way to win it. Oh, no. Now the losing starts. What a bad time to go on a losing streak. Oh, man, it's a bad losing streak. I didn't even realize we had lost these 2 games to Buffalo and Detroit. Then we lost to the Islanders, Vancouver, the Ducks, and then the Canucks again. I think some changes might be... Have we dropped in the division standings? Some changes might be in store. Oh, yeah. I'm going to... You know what? I'll sim 2 more games. If we lose, if we lose one of these games against Winnipeg or Dallas, I'm making changes to the roster, to the lineup. All right, against Winnipeg, first game of a back-to-back set, which determines whether changes are made. And it's a win over the Jets. So we won 2-1. And they lost to the Dallas Stars. Now, it was a overtime loss, I think. It was a shootout loss. I will give the team credit on that one. And that keeps us at second in the Pacific Division now, as we are past my birthday. My actual birthday in February, we are now past that. We will sim up again. Okay, so good news is we got the point against Dallas in the shootout. We beat the Senators and we beat the Panthers. So this team just figures it out. You don't have to make any you don't have to force any changes. This team just seems to figure it out. And I think that's going to put us standings-wise, yeah, right there, right with the Edmonton Oilers. Could you imagine a Battle of Alberta playoff round? That would be fun because I would get to play it. That would be really fun to do. But anyway, Columbus, we focus on the Blue Jackets. And we focus on winning 3-0. That's a good shutout victory there. Assume for Peter Mrazek. I hope he doesn't get burnt out playing all these games. I mean, he has to deal with it. 4-3 loss. 4-3 loss. Okay, it came in overtime. That's a point there. And it just still Edmonton within reach. Now we're reaching the trade deadline. Again, I could do my due diligence. I could definitely see what's out there at the trade deadline, and look at who the sellers are. But I think we've basically made our big move. I don't have any assets to trade off. Except for I might look at trading off a first round pick. So if I sim up to the deadline day, we have the first rounder, but it looks like it would be a late first rounder right now as it stands. And I'm fine with parting ways with this year's first. But I need to look at the kind of cap space we have available and find out who the sellers are and what we might possibly be able to get. Yeah, I'm going to move on from trade deadline day. This is all the moves that are being made on deadline day here. Minnesota acquiring Daniel Cleary from Nashville and a third rounder, while Nashville acquires Harding from Minnesota. So Nashville needed a goaltender. But we're just moving on past the deadline day. So into the end of the season we go. Not going to mess with this roster. Not going to mess with this lineup. I actually like my group. I do like my group, and Callahan is a 30-goal man this season. It looks like he's definitely guaranteed to be 30. Could hit 40, depending on how this last stretch of the year plays out. But it's looking like this Flames team is definitely a playoff team, and they could be a division winner. I don't want to speak too soon. There's still plenty of season left. The Coyotes are probably out of the conversation with that record. And we just buried them even further with a win and 2 points against them. And a win against LA. And is that going to be a win against San Jose? Yes, it will. Oh, my goodness. This is beautiful to see. What a scene to witness in Calgary. Of course, Peter Mrazek's save percentage is no longer top 8 in the NHL on this list. But he is the best goaltender on wins this season. We kind of knew that would happen. With the amount of games he's playing, it's not a shock that his save percentage would not be in that top 8, but maybe it's top 10 or similar or thereabouts. And there's your updated goals leaders. It's Drouin. Ovechkin has caught up, though, with 38. Drouin leading the Tampa Bay Lightning and the NHL with 43 goals. How about Zhukov with 31 for LA right there? And I got to find out, is LA in the playoff mix so far? But this is the East. Tampa Bay with 95 points, far and away. Best team in the East right now. Might be the best team in the NHL with those 95 points. Detroit with 49. What a struggle it has been for the Red Wings. No wonder they sold off Cleary. And 84 points for the Oilers. So it is just the two Alberta-based teams are crushing the Pacific Division right now in a head-to-head fight for the Pacific Division win. And, I mean, with LA, San Jose, all those teams below us, I mean, we're guaranteed a playoff spot. We're almost 10 points ahead of LA, who is third in the division. So it could come down to those three California teams deciding who gets the third spot in the Pacific Division and who gets into the playoffs. Chicago, 78 points. Man, they're still just barely hanging on to that playoff spot right there in the Central Division. Nashville with 90 points. Crushed it. Nashville is in, and they just traded for a goaltender. So an updated look at all the standings. As we march more toward the end of the season, onward toward the playoffs. Preds have won 7 straight. Not good news for the rest of the league. What did we win to start the season? We won like 8 or 9 straight to open the season. So we had a big win streak of our own, which has catapulted us to the position that we are in the West. We may have to pay attention if we have one more head-to-head with the Edmonton Oilers to see who takes the Pacific Division between the two of us. If we can start winning some games. We did lose to the Avalanche, and we've lost now consecutive games with that one to the Minnesota Wild. And there's another 3 straight. We had the 3 straight wins, but then the 3 straight losses. You will not be taking home a division win by dropping a bunch of games at the end of the season right here. The standings between ourselves and Edmonton were too close to start losing games now. And I know I said that I wasn't concerned with winning a division, but I would rather not see the Oilers win the division if it is up for grabs for ourselves. We got to put ourselves back in the conversation. Some wins here. Have done that. 3 lost in a row, but then bounced back with 3 in a row of our own. What is that about the players? The atmosphere around the Predators, players, coaches, and even fans exhilarating because just one more win confirms a spot in the playoffs. Well, they are definitely a playoff team. Look at that. Drew in a 100-point season. You know how rare it is in the old NHL games to see 100-point seasons from players? Well, Drouin is going to accomplish it, and he might take home the Rocket Richard Trophy as well. So, Atlantic Division, it looks like it could be locked up for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I mean, there's how many weeks left in the season? Not many. There is a head-to-head with the Oilers. That could be a crucial game for us before the season ends. And then this is where it stands. 2 points separates ourselves from the Oilers. We're definitely a playoff team. Look at those standings in the Pacific. The Pacific is weak. I mean, I guess if you ignore the Oilers and the Flames, who are having their own little battle in a league of their own at the top of the division, it is very competitive between San Jose, Anaheim, Phoenix, and Los Angeles. So the California-based teams and the one Arizona-based team are right in the mix to decide who's going to take that third spot in the division and who could potentially be a wild card team. Well, we exceeded the owners' expectations. We had 40 wins. We have a 40-win season, a very good Predators team. Can we knock them off their horse for a little bit here? We do. A 6-1 win against the Nashville Predators. That's nice to my eyeballs. And the San Jose Sharks looking to stay in the fight, and they will. They get 2 points. We handed them a very gratuitous 2 points in the standings. A couple of games against the Canucks and then the Ducks, and then rematching the Canucks at home ice before we play the Oilers. We'll have to check in on that game against the Edmonton Oilers, see where the standings are before we play the Oilers. 40 wins on the year for Peter Mrazek. That means one of the 41 wins went to the backup goaltender, who I already forgot who it is. Hold on a minute. Did we just win 10-3? Did we just we won 10-3. I wish I could see the game log from that one. What is the score sheet from that game against Vancouver? We went off. Goodness gracious. Where are the standings now? Okay, we're 5 points in back of the Oilers. So the game against Edmonton could still be crucial, but we'll sim past the game against Vancouver, and then we'll take another brief peek at the standings and see if we've closed the gap at all. So we still don't quite have that 40-goal scorer, and I don't think we will have a 40-goal scorer in Camilleri. It will probably have to remain at 30, 35 might be his peak. But there's the goals and points and everything. If you want to look at that, goals and points, team standings. Wow, the Leafs have caught up to Tampa Bay, still 5 points back, but they're right there. But it looks like Tampa Bay is going to take the division. 5 points likewise for ourselves in back of the Oilers. But, if we win this game in regulation, we would suddenly have 97 points. But there's one more game left. So the most points we could score is 99. So it looks like the Edmonton Oilers are going to take the division. So that makes this a little anticlimactic. This head-to-head battle of Alberta in Calgary. But who takes the victory anyway? If they could set us up for the playoffs. We lost 4-3. Please tell me it was in extra time. It would give me a little bit of a momentum boost. It was an extra time loss, so that's fine with me. That makes me feel better about ourselves. One more game to finish out the season. It closes out in San Jose, California, against the Sharks, who I didn't pay attention if they're even in the playoff hunt anymore. But we're in a second, we're going to know who's in the playoffs. Last game of the regular season, we're a playoff team, so there will be playoff hockey in Calgary again as Ryan Callahan caps out as a 33-goal man. I'm so glad I brought him back. Did I see the San Jose Sharks again? We have to play San Jose again in the first round. So they did make it, and the season finale was once again a tune-up for the first round. Last time these two teams played in the first round, we eliminated them in, 7 games? And then we proceeded to get knocked out in 5 by the Anaheim Ducks. A little bit of a spoiler alert from Season 2 for you. But we're back into it. We're back in the playoffs. I want to see the playoff tree before I wrap this one up. Playoff tree looks as follows. Edmonton, Anaheim. Anaheim made it again. Oh, they made it in. Don't tell me we're going to beat San Jose just to face Anaheim. Don't do that to me. So the rest of the tree in the West. I'm focused on the West right now. It's Edmonton, Anaheim, Calgary, San Jose, Nashville, Colorado, and Winnipeg and Chicago. I really hope Edmonton wins, and I hope we can win our series. I want a Battle of Alberta playoff round. And then in the East, it will be Carolina facing Tampa, Toronto, Montreal first round. That's going to be electric. Washington, Buffalo, and Devils, Rangers first round. Quite the first round there in the East. We got the battle of the Southeast teams, the battle of the how do I put this? 2 big-time Original Six rivals, basically, in the Maple Leafs and the Canadiens. And then we've got the battle of the Hudson River between the Rangers and the Devils. That's going to be great. Okay, to wrap it up, I forgot about the stats. This is, everyone played all 82 because we've just got a phenomenal team doctor. We don't get injuries anymore. Until we get into the playoff games, we'll probably have an injury in there. But we had our leading goal scorer. We had 2 30-goal scorers, and it was Callahan and Camilleri. I mean, joined at the freaking hip. They had very similar totals this season. See what happens when they can spend 82 games alongside each other. And Sven Baertschi is also a benefactory in that line combination. Then Granlund performed exceptionally well. 22-goal season, 56 points. Emerton was 17 and 33. He heated up somewhere along the way. He outperformed Brandon Saad, who had a 30-point, 12-goal season. Did he play second-line minutes? But anyway, we got Brandon Saad in there. I should probably just sort this by forwards because we'll look at defensemen on their own. Brouwer, then Pouliot, Ott, Stallberg. So we had some guys hitting double digits. All these guys hitting double digits in goals from Ott and above. And then down here, these guys were single-digit goal scorers. Stallberg, Kempe, Sevior. So just 3 players stuck in single-digit goals. So the point totals are as follows: 77 points in 82 games. So basically point per game, just shy of point per game for Mike Camilleri. And the point totals, of course, they look like that. Just 11 points on Sevior, but, fourth liner and all that. Most goals for a defenseman came from Laxo. Wow, our free agent defenseman signing. 3 years at 1.2. I mean, worth the freaking money. He had 14 goals and 34 points on the back end. Everyone except for Ekblad and Weidman was a plus player on the back end. Impressive. Very impressive season. Ekblad had an 8-goal year. 8 goals in his rookie season is phenomenal and outperforming the veteran and offensive-minded defenseman Dennis Weidman, Girardi, and Peckham. I almost kind of want to sim a few extra seasons just to see where Aaron Ekblad ends up overall-wise, because he's 85 overall in his rookie year. He's grown. He started the season as an 84. So I can't wait to see where he grows to, and his potential is, you can see it for yourself in the top right corner. I mean, this guy could be electric. He's got a freaking 99 wrist shot power. Oh, and I forgot about power play. So Laxo was a beast on the power play. That was a smart move to get Laxo in free agency and then just put him right on the freaking power play. And I need to look at forwards and who was really good on the power play for us. Berici, Callahan, first unit. First unit was good, but so was Granlund and Emerton. They chipped in on the second unit. So my primary face-off takers were better than 50% on the draw. So that's great. We've got really good centermen on this team as well. Well, the NHL got to know the greatness of Jonathan Drouin. He is going to win the Richard Trophy. So the Maurice Richard Trophy winner will be Jonathan Drouin, as well as taking home the Art Ross. Look out for the Tampa Bay Lightning in the playoffs. And the rest of the NHL on the goal scoring, this is sorted by goals. It goes like this. There were just 340 goal scorers in the NHL this season in this season. Sim Zikov, quite the standout player there. Like I said, he bumped up to an 85. He grew in this, and that's good news for LA. Not good news for those who have to play the Los Angeles Kings. I didn't even remember if they made the playoffs or not. But anyway, Mike Camilleri is somewhere in here. Or sorry, Ryan Callahan, rather. Ryan Callahan is right there in the conversation with the rest of the league at 33 goals. And by the way, Patrick Kane on that Colorado Avalanche team, which is just stacked with talent. Incredible. And Le Cavalier is right there, sandwiched between Camilleri and Callahan. So the former Flame in this universe anyway, the former Flame joining the Panthers and having quite a year, a very splendid season, still finding that magic touch at, like I said, 36 years of age. He has hardly dropped off at all. The most points for a defenseman was Zach Bogosian on the Jets. And the points totals look like this. Giordano representing the Flames right in the mix with Shea Weber. Both of those guys were all-stars on the all-star team. Save percentage. Best goaltender in the NHL. Would you say that it is Corey Schneider, or would you say it would be somebody else? 42 games played, and he had a 94.16 save percentage. That's incredible. Winning 26 games. I want to know, look at that GAA. That GAA is incredible for Schneider as well in 42 games, 1.87. But I want to know, how many games did we give to Mrazek? Lundqvist played 51 games, and look at those numbers for Henrik Lundqvist. But where in the world is my man, Peter Mrazek? He should be very close on this list. There he is. He played 82 games. Martin Brodeur levels. 82 games. He played in all 82 games, dude. So that means even in games he did not start. And does it show you games started? I don't know if games started it is not a stat. But he played in all 82 games and had almost a 92 save percentage at the end of it all. And he won 42 games and 27 losses. Incredible stuff. And it's maintained a 2.40 GAA, which is better than some of these goaltenders right here that didn't even play in half the games that he played in.